Welcome to another amazing episode of Raising Private Money with Jay Conner. I'm Jay Conner, the Private Money Authority, also your host. And here on the show, we talk about how to raise private money for your deals without asking for money. Well, I have an amazing guest and friend here on the show to join me today. And what he's known for is teaching his clients how to create wealth without using Wall Street brokers and without using financial planners. Now, all this began with and started with him being inspired from a groundbreaking book, which is titled How to Become Your Own Banker by R. Nelson Nash. Well, to most people, becoming their own banker was something they couldn't envision or even actually attempt because they had yet to see a viable vehicle and a way to do it like ever before. No obvious or effective plan. Well, most people park their money in, as my guest would say, in prison, in qualified plans or with a broker, hoping that the money's going to grow. Well, he teaches his clients and shows them that hope is not a strategy that you can depend on. Becoming your own banker is an and strategy, meaning they accumulate money in their money pool and deploy it to make even more money. This is a huge mind shift. So, with this knowledge and advantage, his company, which is titled Create Tailwind, I love it, exploded to become a multi-location, nationally recognized firm who has helped thousands and thousands of individuals and businesses around the United States. So if you are ready to stop following the followers and pursue some real financial independence, well, my guest can show you how. In just a moment, you're going to meet my friend and special guest, Jim Oliver, right after this.
If you're a real estate investor and are wondering how to raise and leverage private money to make more profit on every deal, then you're in the right place. On Raising Private Money, we'll speak with new and seasoned investors to dissect their deals and extract the best tips and strategies to help you get the money, because the money comes first. Now here's your host, Jay Conner.
Well, hello there, Jim, and welcome to the show.
Hey, Jay, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here and excited to talk to you and get to share with the audience some exciting information and help educate everyone on infinite banking and how they can implement that and increase their path to financial independence.
Absolutely. Well, we'll start out talking about raising private money, since this is the Raising Private Money show, and then we'll segue over into the infinite banking concept and how that works. So you've raised private money, or you wouldn't be here on the show. So tell us, what is it that happened in your business way back when, Jim, that you found yourself needing to raise private money? It's been my experience in interviewing hundreds of experts that have raised private money. Something happened that triggered you that you needed to start doing it. Tell us that story.
Yeah, so I've over the time after I was a Wall Street financial planner. That's why I'm anti-Wall Street financial planner, because I know exactly I can pull back the curtains. But after that, I started buying businesses, and I've bought parts of all of over 30 businesses now. And I want to tell a story about when it's kind of a hot topic, maybe good and bad in the press, but crypto businesses. And so back in 2017, my business partner in another business came to me and he said, Jim, what do you know about cryptocurrency? And I said, you mean Bitcoin? And he said, no, there's other types of cryptocurrency. And I said, no, Bob, I know the word Bitcoin. That's all I know about cryptocurrency, that word. And he said, well, because I was with Gateway Computers back in the day, I have this in with NVIDIA, and they make the chip that you need, the memory card, to go and mine Ethereum. Now, I didn't know what mining cryptocurrency meant. I didn't even know what Ethereum was. But we created this company that we were going to create mining computers. And back in that time, Jay, all of the mining computers for cryptocurrency were like on shelves that you would buy at Walmart, and it was open architecture, right? There was no server box, no ventilation, anything else. It was just open architecture. But we had we had the US exclusive for this memory card through NVIDIA. And it's always good to have partners like that, by the way. So we had this opportunity, but we needed a lot of cash to start and get it up and running and make a big order with NVIDIA, et cetera. So what we did is we educated everybody about cryptocurrency and Ethereum and the blockchain. We started doing different things online. We did things in person. We really just started educating. Once we educated people, people wanted to invest. And that's kind of the thing that I would say the message for me when I've done this, and this is one example, is it's education. If I want to raise money to invest for real estate, educate me on RV parks. Show me the economics of RV parks, because then I'm going to want to invest. So to me, Jay, that's what we did, is we educated people and then they wanted to get involved.
Jim, I love your answer from your experience, because I have experienced exactly the same thing. And that's why I talk about my private money teacher hat all the time, right? It's all about teaching. It's all about educating. And that's why we talk here on the show all the time about we're not running around begging, selling, persuading. Desperation has got a smell to it. I've learned over the years, Jim, the worst time to be raising private money is when you need it to close on a deal tomorrow, right?
Yep.
And, a case in point on this, I have right now 47 individual private lenders that are loaning us money on our real estate deals. And speaking of education, Jim, not one of these 47 private lenders, had ever heard of private money or private lending, didn't know what it was. None of them had ever heard of a way that you could move your retirement funds into a self-directed IRA and actually truly self-direct it, right?
Yep.
And you say not have your money in a prison that you can actually self-directed. And so when I started raising private money, I simply started sharing with people, first of all, what's private money, how they can earn high rates of return safely and securely. My space is primarily single family houses, but I'm sure you'll agree, it don't matter if it's single family houses, multifamily, commercial, Bitcoin, whatever it is that you're raising money for, as long as you put on your teacher hat and you educate people first, then you know what? I don't even have to, this, what I'm getting ready to say goes so adversely against what I learned in sales training when I was 24 years old. And I was trained, if you don't ask for the sale, you don't get it. But in this world, that's not the case. I simply put my teacher hat on, educate people, and now instead of me chasing the money is chasing me. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, Jay, you nailed it. Every business that I have, it's about educating the client or the tenant or it's education 100%. What I tell people is I'm going to educate you to the point where you're going to say one of two things. This is for me or this isn't for me. That's it. So my job, I don't sell anything. In fact, in the business for infinite banking, I tell people I'll give you our business model in 30 seconds. One, you never pay us $1. The insurance company pays us a commission to set up the policy. Two, wherever they start, I have people that start over $1 million a year going into their insurance policies, which seems crazy to most people when they think about insurance. But wherever they start, they're going to grow it. As their education grows, they want to put more and more money through their own bank instead of somebody else's. And I never ask one person for referrals, but just like you said, I get so many referrals every week, because once they get once they get in their minds what this is and how cool it is and how to use it for businesses, for investing, they want to tell everybody. I don't ask them to tell everybody. Why would I do that? If it's so good for them, then they'll tell everybody. I need to ask them for referrals. But the key is that they grow based on their education. So the more money that I would be raising, if I have more education, I have more opportunity, because when you educate somebody, you create opportunity.
Absolutely. As you have raised money, private money, et cetera, in the past, what's a big lesson you've learned as to how not to go about it?
Well, I think you said it. Don't beg anybody. Don't beg, and don't feel like you're selling. If they're not buying, always be the seller. So don't be the buyer. Always be the buyer. Don't be the seller. Okay. I'm buying. I'm looking for people that align with me and my goal of teaching people about financial freedom, about financial independence. If they say, you know what, I really do like that 401k at work, and I really, Wall Street's been really good to me. Hey, I'll go play golf with them. I'll go fishing with them, but they're not going to be my client. And so the thing that I learned is, if it's not right, if they don't believe that it's right for them and they come to that conclusion, this is for me or this is not for me. If it's not for them, then the conversation's over. That's what I learned.
Yes, thank you. You know what goes hand in hand for me, Jim, along with this mindset of putting on your teacher hat and being an educator and letting people know what it is that you have without begging or selling or chasing. What also goes along with that is serving, having a servant's heart. I've had countless real estate investors say to me, they said, Jay, I have a fear of rejection. I have a fear of, me not being able to raise the money. Well, Jim, here's what I say to them. I say, how can you fear rejection if you're not asking anybody for anything? And if you're serving them with this new way that they can earn rates of return? There is no fear when you're leading with a servant's heart. Do you agree with that?
I agree with it. One of my favorite books is The Go-Giver. And It has 5 stratospheric laws of success. And you always give more value than your payment, right? Always. When we create things, we want 10x. If somebody paid us to do something, I want to give them 10 times the value than they paid me. That's just my goal in my head. But you nailed it, Jay. And, when I was in my 20s, I didn't understand that. You talked about getting in sales at 24. I got into the financial services business at 22 years old. I didn't know. I was calling out of the phone book and I was selling. Hey, I want to sell you investments and insurance and annuities. And, what do you think? My sales pitch was better than that, but they had me listen to all these Tom Hopkins and love Tom Hopkins. I'm great. I'm sure a great man, but he was selling and I couldn't do it. And it wasn't until I realized that I don't have to sell anything. All I have to do is educate people and, like you said, serve them. But Zig Ziglar always said, help somebody get what they want and you'll get more than what, than you expect. Or I can't remember the way he said it, but it was basically help other people get what they want. I'll tell you what, Jay, I had to hear that 10 times before it sank in. At 58, I will tell you it's the God's honest truth that's all you have to do is help other people get what they want. So you want to raise money? How does it serve them? And I like to say compared to what? So when you think about what you're offering this person compared to what does the herd do? The herd puts their money in a 401k, lets it sit there for 20, 30, 40 years. They don't know the tax consequences. They don't know really what their actual rate of return is. They see their average rate of return and they think that's what they're earning. It's not. And by the time that they figure out that it didn't work out the way they expected, it's too late. And, motion is a law of God, Jay, as you know. If air doesn't flow through our bodies, we die. If blood doesn't flow through our bodies, we die. If water doesn't flow, it becomes stagnant. If money doesn't move, it dies. So people want opportunity. If you have opportunity and you can educate that person, they'll like know, like, trust you, and they're in. That's all you have to do, is have a servant's heart and educate them with a servant's heart.
Jim, you and I have got 100% the same exact core value. So let's move into your expertise, and that is infinite banking, becoming your own banker. So you just mentioned a moment ago, you've got one client that's putting in $1 million a year, into their insurance policies. So, most people don't have $1 million a year to put in.
Yeah, no, I get it.
But let's go back to square one.
Yeah.
What in the world does it mean to become? How do you become your own banker? What in the world does that mean?
Yeah. So think about this. When we have a problem, and whether we realize we have a problem or not, a lot of times we don't, right? Until somebody explains it to us. And here's the problem that we have, Jay, is that you finance, you, me, everyone, every single thing that you buy. You either pay someone else interest or you give up interest you could have earned somewhere else. Okay. So what infinite banking does is it makes you the banker. Because what happens now is that people make money, they go down and they deposit it at their local bank, right? Or their national bank or whatever, their local branch. And then the bank takes that money and they loan it to someone else who pays them interest. And then they pay the depositor a smaller amount of interest, right? Okay. Which is what, when you're raising money, it's kind of what you're doing too, right? Is you're going to go and you're going to do something with the money and you're going to pay your investors. But with infinite banking, you're controlling that banking function. When you buy this specially designed insurance contract, and it's the way that a bank or a corporation buys, banks have bank-owned life insurance, BOLI. Corporations have corporate-owned life insurance, and it's called COLI, right? So, and they design it for cash value because they know once that money's in there, it's never taxed again. So then you can take when you have that money in your insurance contract, you have a contractual right to borrow the insurance company's money while your money stays in this tax shelter, growing guaranteed every single day. So all the money you're making from these different investments flows into your policy as a bank, not the commercial bank. But you get to use the insurance company's money, not your own, to go buy these investments, all right, at an interest only. And the rates right now are 4 to 5%. So, I literally was just on the phone with somebody the other day, and it was like, well, Jim, I'm borrowing money from the insurance company, interest only at 4. And then I'm investing it and people are paying me 12% because they have real estate opportunities. I said, okay, sounds good. And he goes, how do I do more of that? That was his only question. How do I do more of that?
Jim, it sounds to me like that is an infinite rate of return. Now, I could be wrong. So let me share with you what I'm hearing you say.
Yep.
And let me share with you the conclusion I'm hearing. And you tell me if I'm understanding this right. So you have an insurance policy. You sell the insurance policy. I can borrow from the insurance company, which is not my money. I'm borrowing the insurance company's money at 4%. If I turn around and I loan the insurance company's money out, it's not my money. I'm loaning the insurance company's money out, and somebody's going to pay me 12%. I'm now going to do what the big banks in the downtown cities do. They're going to pocket the spread because, like you said, they take deposits, which isn't their money. It's their customers' money. They loan it out for a higher amount. How can you calculate your return if it's not even your money that you're loaning out, that you're making money on somebody else's money?
And I tell people that, oh, Jay, you just nailed it. I mean, normally that takes me, for that level of understanding what you just said, it takes me a couple of hours of courses or education to get people to get that light bulb to go off. And this is really caught, not taught. So you already get it. But that's exactly right. It's not my money, right? And if I was like Dave Ramsey and I thought that cash didn't have a value, right? And I was just going to pay cash for everything and I didn't understand lost opportunity cost like Dave doesn't, or it's not in his message, then I would go, well, no, I'd rather pay cash for that. No. Why would I pay cash for that? I have no money in the deal. So other people's money, use and control. Whoever controls the money makes the money, right? I mean, that we know that forever. Whoever controls the money makes the money.
I love it. Now, in my introduction of bringing you here on the show, I quoted you, and your quote says, "Hope is not a strategy. Becoming your own banker is." And in context of your quote is, someone goes to their financial advisor, stockbroker, and says, "Okay, here's my money. You invest it."
Yeah.
And you're giving it to them, and you don't even understand what they're doing with it, right? They're like,
on purpose. That way on purpose. Yep.
they're just, it's going into like this black hole, and you're praying that something good is going to come back out of the black hole. So how is your strategy put your client more in the driver's seat of their financial future?
Because we're not selling an investment, right? What you're doing with the money, that's different. We're controlling the banking function. We're controlling the money pool, right? And we're flowing money in through that pool, and we're making it bigger and bigger and bigger. That's why people end up putting more and more and more money in there. But what do you invest in? Okay, so there's a couple of things that when somebody says that to me, who, not how. I don't want to become the expert. A lot of people say, I don't want to become the expert. Jay, I don't want to be active in real estate. I want to be passive. Great. So now we have to find you a who you know, like, and trust, and has a track record and can do that for you. The other tenet from The Richest Man in Babylon is invest in what you know. Okay, so I just said who, not how, but if you have some kind of special opportunity. And I'll give you an example. I have one client that puts $300,000 a month into their infinite banking policies, or through their infinite banking policies, and it's from their escrow. This person happens to own $500 million worth of real estate, and they flow their escrow money. Now, what was happening to the escrow money before? It was sitting in someone else's bank and they were using it. Now it's flowing through their bank. When they need it, they take a loan, pay it back, and then it's repaid by the future escrow payments. Now, what I'm saying is that's unusual. That person has an unusual, but it's what they know. So how could they lose money with that? They can't. So it's either who, not how, or if you have some kind of expertise, or I buy 50 trucks for my plumbing company every 4 years, well, then I can finance trucks because they're a cash flowing asset.
Now that is what I call leveraging a non-performing asset.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
I love it. Now, just in case we have anyone that needs to jump off before we end the show, I know you've got some information. You got a URL that you want to give out, because we haven't even really started the conversation really good yet. So let's go ahead and give out, Jim, how can people connect with you to learn more about this infinite banking concept?
Yeah, they can go to community.createtailwind, all one word, .com. community.createtailwind.com. Perfect. Right there. They can go there. And I want to make a special offer to everybody before anybody would jump off the show. Is today only, okay? This book is launching. My book, Jim Oliver, Make Bank Without the Bank. It's on Kindle. You can download the Kindle today for free. And after today, you can buy a hardcover, paperback, whatever. But in this book, I give you some of these concepts that all align with what we're talking about, Jay. And if you just go and join the community, there are courses on there. It's tax invisible. It's what is IBC? What is infinite banking concept? And then there's one that's becoming your own banker. I go through Nelson's book page by page and explain it to you. Those are all free. So if you ever thought about infinite banking, you were just kind of curious. Again, all I want to do is educate you until you come to one conclusion. This is for me or it's not for me. That's it. No sales, no close, nothing.
I love it, Jim. Again, that website is community.createtailwind.com, just like a tailwind behind an airplane, I assume.
That's what it is. Yep. And Jay, because most of us are fighting, most people are fighting a financial headwind because they're paying all this interest. They've got a money babysitter, a financial planner that is, making guesses, and they're making guesses, and then they hope together. And that's why I say hope is not a strategy, because it's all guesses. Change one of them. Oh, you can't put that amount of money in the investment? Okay, let me lower inflation, increase your rate of return. Hey, can you put that amount in there? It's like, wait a minute. That's not a strategy. That's a strategy for you to get money to flow to me, being Wall Street. But what's the difference between wealthy people and poor people, Jay? The direction their money flows. Wealthy people, money flows to them. Poor people, money flows away from them.
Absolutely. There's another phrase that you talk about, Jim, that I want to explore for a moment. And that is, you talk about this idea of eternal cash flow. And so here's my question. What is eternal cash flow? Why do you focus on it rather than retirement?
So, retirement is a fairly new concept, right? It's been around for about 140 years. If you go back, you read the Bible, there's no retirement. People didn't retire. If I was a professional golfer, which I really wish I was, Jay, I would never want to retire, right? You see actors, they love what they do. They don't want to ever retire. They die. My resignation will be in my obituary because I love to serve other people and show them how to do this. But retirement is this. You build up this pool of money, wherever it is. It's in instruments like Wall Street. Then you get to what you think is this amount of money that you need to live off. And then you start the distribution phase, which has all these perils, sequence of returns, etc. But then you hope you don't run out of money before you die. That is a scarcity mindset. As opposed to, I go buy real estate, right? Passively, actively, I don't care what sector it's in or like what it is, and it produces cash flow. Maybe it's a little cash flow, then a little bit more cash flow, then a little bit more cash flow. But if you keep doing it, you're going to get it to the point where whether you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 80s, it doesn't matter, where your cash flow exceeds your ideal standard of living. And when your cash flow exceeds your ideal standard of living, then you're financially independent. You're financially free. Those assets, as the government debases our money, meaning that they print more so that the money in your pockets go down in value, the money sitting in Wall Street goes down in value. While they're doing that, your asset gets what? It gets more valuable. Rents go up, right? As inflation happens. So you have to be going with the forces that you can't control, like inflation. It's a stealth tax. The only way to fight it is to buy assets, not instruments.
I love it, Jim. Right on point. By the way, you mentioned a few minutes ago, you said that one of your favorite books, if not your favorite book, is The Go-Giver.
Yep.
Guess who I had on the show a few months ago as my guest?
Bob Berg?
Yes.
I've had him. Isn't he a great guy?
Oh, my lands, Bob. I mean, it's like I was sort of starstruck, you know.
Dude, that's so funny you say that, Jay. I was when I had him on my show too. I was like, I'm talking to Bob Berg. I could have talked to him for 3 hours about the book.
Absolutely, yes. So The Go-Giver. So before we wrap up, let's do something really, really fun, Jim, on top of what we've already done.
Yep.
And that is, we got our lightning round. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. If you could be known for only one thing, what would it be?
Service.
Man, I was asked that question a few weeks ago, and my answer was pretty close to yours. I said on authenticity and integrity. Next question. So we all have challenges that come along. We always have problems that come along that we have to work through. What's one personal characteristic of yours that has been pivotal to your success over all these decades?
Persistence. Failure means nothing to me. I know that I'm going to fail. If I do 10 deals, but I know my batting average will be better than 800. And you know what? Those failures get me closer to success. And so persistence, in my opinion, is the one trait that you have to have. You cannot quit. You have to keep moving forward. I might be going as slow as a barge down the river, but I'm going.
Absolutely. Here's my favorite part right here, Jim. So here's a stack of cards, right?
Yeah.
And so it'll sort of be like a magic trick. You just tell me when to stop.
Okay.
And we'll see what the question says.
All right. Ready? Stop.
All right. Let's see what it is right here. Question says, if you could be a backup singer for any band, who would it be?
Chris Stapleton. I love his voice. I'd just be sitting there listening, and somebody said to me the other day, well, he just sits there and sings, and I'm like, yeah, but he can sing.
Absolutely. Okay, final lightning round. Share with us one quote that you live by.
Adversity introduces a person to themselves.
Woo!
And it makes you stronger. I've lived it my whole life. I grew up very poor. It's in my book. I was homeless at one point in time, and everything that I needed to learn about making money, Jay, I learned when I was 13, but I didn't see it. And so adversity makes you stronger. Your scars are your superpower. That's the quote.
I love it. My scars are my superpower. Awesome. Okay, one more time. That URL to get the free education and to learn about what Jim's got going on here, community.createtailwind.com. Jim, you get the final word.
Well, thank you. I mean, the thing that I would say is it's all about how you think. And if you have whatever you think, you will become, just like in The Strangest Secret. And that's a great video for anybody to watch on YouTube. Is if you have negative thoughts, which we all do, get them out of your head. Do whatever you got to do. Pray about it. I imagine it being on a highway. The bad thought comes in and it's gone. So what I would say is it's all about how you think.
Until you own the real estate between your ears, it's going to be hard to own traditional real estate. Jim Oliver, thank you so much for joining me, my friend.
Jay, thank you so much for having me. And audience, thank you for listening.
You got it. Well, there you have it, my friend. Another amazing episode of Raising Private Money. I'm Jay Conner, your host, the Private Money Authority, wishing you all the best. Be sure and subscribe. Ring that bell if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, be sure and follow so you don't miss the next amazing episode coming right up. We'll see you right here on the next episode of Raising Private Money.
Are you feeling inspired by the knowledge you gained in this episode? Then head over to jconner.com/moneyguide. That's jconner.com/moneyguide and download your free guide that shares 7 reasons why private money will skyrocket your real estate investing business right now. Again, that's jconner.com/moneyguide to get your free guide. We'll see you next time on Raising Private Money with Jay Conner.